Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Mm, so we
This
have a
almost feels
yummy
like that awkward, sorry, that awkward moment when you press the Zoom and it says recording in progress. Now it's like the stream is live. So it's now serious because everybody's seeing you.
totally. Get very serious now. Stop being yourself.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we wanted to come live today because we were having a really amazing conversation the other day, and we were like, we should share this with people. Hey, Robert. Hey, everybody that's joining us. Um, so Leilani, Leilani has been working with me for 3.5 years. Yeah, really,
Yes.
really closely. She's been like my right hand lady, um, and and so much more. Like a dear, dear friend, and like we have each other's backs dynamically, and it's been amazing, amazing journey of creation that we've had with each other. And this summer, a whole lot of things have changed for in the business and my business and for Leilani and with me and just so many in so many ways. And so she's actually going to be leaving. And we were just I'm trying to even remember like what we were talking about. We were like, we need to go live and talk about this because this is business done different. Um, but we just had this
Cool.
beautiful,
Cool. It was that
yeah.
conversation about our We Business Done Different program that was stretched out over 8 weeks. And it started on the 27th of July and it ended this past week on the 5th of September. And as we did the final call my evening, just as we are about to round up, I realized by myself that going back to the start of the program, which was the 27th of July, I never would have thought if you told me then that I would be moving on and not work, in the future in the Heather Nichols business. It never crossed my mind ever, 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 ever. And even with the beginning of the BDD program, your business was also in a different space with a different energy. And so much has changed with that whole business as well in that whole program.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. BDD, for those of you who don't know BDD, it's business done different.
Oh yeah.
It's a 3-day class. It's also we can do it as a an online version. So sometimes I do it over 5 days for 2.5 hours a day. Sometimes we do it as a program. This was the first time I'd done it as a program where it was a 1.5 hour call every few days for 6 weeks. Basically, it was 10 calls. But yeah, over the course of 6 weeks, it was like where we started. Fast forward 6 weeks. I mean, the month of August was just so dynamic, and where we ended up, it was like, wow. Nobody saw that coming, and a lot of things, including you leaving the business. And It was so cool when you said that. I was like, wow. I really, because we really forget to look back on things, and I mean, we almost always forget to really look back and appreciate where we are now, and in reference to where we were, and it's a actually amazing thing that makes business so much more powerful and it actually makes your business grow when you're willing to look at things, see the growth, what you've gained, acknowledge it, and there's a lot of magic in that. So it was cool to do that and go, wow, oh my gosh, this has been a beautiful process of you having your back, Leilani, me having your back, me having my back, you having my back, and the business, and just really going, okay, well, what's going to create the greatest for everybody and everything here.
Totally. And I was looking at that today and I'm like, there's absolutely no hard feelings between the two of us. It's even greater than it was before, if I can say that.
Totally.
And then I just like remember you always say like, if your life move in the direction of greater, the world gets greater. So for me, choosing for me and really look at what I would like my life to be, I knew that if I step forward into something and it's for me going to create greater in my life, it's awesome because then the world becomes a better place. And the same for you and your business and everybody else that's coming to play. And it's like, together, we just all make the world greater.
So true. I mean, when we choose greater for ourselves, if that makes the world greater, that includes everybody, even the person that that might be like, oh, you're leaving me, but I was like, yeah, that actually seems like, it was light. There was a sense of real, like, expansiveness to that choice. And as much as I was like, oh my God, when we first talked about it, I was like, I mean, I kind of knew it might be coming, but I was also like, wow, okay, we're going to have to really reorganize here, because Leilani's been doing a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. But it's been so cool also to see the business has become so much greater too, because there's new people that are playing now, and it's like, because that's how it works. Leilani's like, I'm going to make a choice that's for the greater future for me, translates to everything else, and then the business is like, great, like this person and this person and this and this and this, boom, and it's been this incredible time of transition. So
Totally. And I mean, I've been looking at that as well in the week when we had our team meeting, and everybody was like chatting and creation ideas, and I was just sitting and I was looking and I thought, you know what, this is so cool. And I've actually been a contribution to this.
yeah,
It's sad not to be part of the gaggle soon, but it's okay because I've been part of the transition in moving, it into a greater space. And it
yeah.
was such a beautiful acknowledgement to just know that, okay, cool, I had a finger in this pie too,
Oh my
you know.
gosh. Many, many fingers and many pies. We've made many pies over the past 3.5 years. More than you could count, more than you could eat.
I mean, I just have to say it was not the most comfortable, easy decision ever.
Yeah.
That's why I just love how it all ties in with the class coming up, on the 18th of September, of having your back, having your own back, and talking about the elements of intimacy. And
Yeah.
really, when we chatted, me and you, just casually, it really dawned on me. It's like, wow, this was truly having my own back. And you looking at all the changes in your business, that was really, truly you having your own back.
Yeah.
Because we each know for ourselves what else is possible, to create. And once you just follow that energy and go towards it, the universe will deliver.
Totally. Yeah. So talk about that, because that you've been in basically all of my classes in the past 3.5 years, except for, body classes maybe, but the you know, intimacy with yourself, intimacy with ourselves, that's a huge focus of mine and what I facilitate. And it's a big element. And we have this beautiful tool in Access Consciousness called the 5 elements of intimacy, which is honoring, gratitude, allowance, vulnerability, and trust. And those, like, I can rattle that off, but like those energies are so powerful when you cultivate them with yourself, and then you can begin to have them with the world as well. And you can't have them with anybody else if you don't have them with you, though. That's the thing. um
That's what's repeating in my head, because that was for me one of like the early classes with you where you mentioned that. It's like you cannot be grateful for somebody if you are not grateful for you. You cannot have allowance for somebody if you don't have allowance for yourself. And that was like the biggest moment for me, aha moment, because it's like, wow, I cannot have true caring for others if I don't care for me. And
yeah.
the same with loving, the so-called loving. I can't love somebody else if I don't love me,
Yeah.
and it's such an amazing tool to look at it from that space and really know, cool, have to put yourself first in everything, before you can, serve the world out there
Totally.
and, be of service. And I mean, you put you first. And that's what having your own back is like. If you are really true to you, then you can just be the best version of yourself for everybody else.
Yeah. That's so true. And we live in a world that is absolutely not about that. It is really like you are wrong if you don't if you prioritize you're wrong, basically. um and there's I would say that's really like a part of the sickness of mankind, and what's going on in the world right now is all of this kind of virtue signaling and posturing, and all these like these weird twisted values of proving that you're a good person because you put other people first.
Yes.
But when you put other people first, it's not about not prioritizing people as well, but it's like when you do that from reaction and the need to prove and all of that, the need to like maintain the status quo of things, you're there's no room for you. You're not looking at the energy of the situation. You're not looking at what's going to work. You're not looking at it pragmatically. There's no room for you to consider you. And ultimately, over time, that creates a lot of anger and resentment in people, and that's, I think, one of the things that really erodes a business is when people within a business that are creating together, if people are constantly putting the needs of the business or the needs of the job or the needs of other people above themselves and their bodies, that it creates a real sense of resentment and discontent and unhappiness and even sometimes anger, and blame and all those fun things. And that's never healthy for a business ever.
No, never, never, never. And that's why I say it's like it wasn't an easy choice to make. But just to know, for me, I looked at, okay, cool. If I decide to stay, will it just be purely from a choice of the comfort zone of I know what is familiar? Or am I really choosing to dive into the discomfort and truly discover what is there for me, to create with the world, in the world? What is next now? It's like you always say, okay, cool. So what's next?
Yeah.
And the only way that I'm going to discover it is if I take the leap to go and say, okay, cool, let's part. I'm not losing you because
Yeah.
I'm just a side message away,
Yeah.
but let me get out of the business, create space for other people to come in and then see what else is, on my journey forward.
Yeah.
And I mean, we spoke about even this. It's like, if it so happens that in future our roads meet again, you said you're always welcome.
Yeah.
And I know that. I
Yeah.
totally know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, our roads are going to keep meeting because I'm going to keep harassing you. So.
That's totally fine.
I just love you too much. Maybe not too much, but a lot. So much.
And it's just to tell everybody, like, it's not a choice made from comfort. It's totally from discomfort of not knowing, what is coming next. There's no plan. There's nothing. We'll see what shows up.
Yeah.
Stay in the question, ask, follow the energy, because energy doesn't lie. Or that quote that X-Men quotes, like, energy never lies. So if you just follow the energy, greater things will show up on the way. And wow. It's just been like amazing to take the leap, and go forward and see, okay, cool. Let's just, and I'm not sitting back and wait. We stay in question all the time because it's not like nothing's going to fall from the sky. It's just like move forward, keep choosing, read, listen to stuff. It's so but
beautiful. Yeah. So one of the things, because as this has been occurring, it's been my whole business has completely rearranged itself. And I mean, we've rearranged it and I've rearranged it. It's changed more than it's ever changed in the past 6 weeks. And I would say like a lot of it from that Business Done Different class. I mean, I love Business Done Different classes because my business always changes and gets greater, even when I'm the facilitator, which is cool. But it's been a time of like my body has been facilitating me and like into something so different that also changes the nature of the business and like how I do things and how I schedule my time. And, it's like rippled through every area. How much I'm on the computer, like all these different things. And, who's contributing. And so it's been this like a reorganization, a complete reorganization of the staff. And then a complete reorganization of my offerings and my schedule and my body and my life and how I spend my days. And I've said this a few times, but I would never have been able to do this without the tools of the Joy of Business and Access Consciousness. I can't imagine going like this process. It's been basically, a month. And not even a month. I mean, since we really started to change things, it's been even less than a month, maybe
Yes.
3 weeks or something. Seems like a long time, but um, I came home from my last body class on the 23rd of August. So that was like 2.5 weeks ago, like it's been a long time, but it's amazing how much you can get done in a short period of time. But it's been so cool because I came home from a summer of travel and I had to start with my body and really like resourcing my body and getting it my body was quite stressed out. So getting my body more resourced. And then I was thinking about this and I was like, and then Brian came, my partner, and we had this beautiful week of like, kind of like looking at our lives and our finances and, where we were going and what we were doing and how we were doing it. And we called it our like financial summit. We do that every once in a while. But it was like this week and we like cooked and hiked and I was like, wow, like, so I took care of my body. I really took care of my relationship and our finances, throughout all of that, really taking care of the business and the future that I'd like to create and have, and it's been from these incredible, what has made it so much ease. I mean, something that might take somebody a year to do, and it's been like 2-3 weeks, but it's been so much ease. I am happier than I've ever been in my entire life. Like really just so enjoying everything, really like just overflowing with gratitude and just really like deeply enjoying my life, and it's because of these amazing tools that we have. I'm just so
And the
grateful.
most beautiful thing of the Joy of Business tools, and one thing that you always say, it's like it doesn't mean because you don't have a business that you don't have to take Business Done Different, because it's the business of your life.
Yeah.
And for me, I was fortunate enough to, when I started working with you, do a BDD before I took a foundation, because BDD doesn't have any prereqs. And that my first BDD just changed my whole life so much. And I mean, I was working for you. It's not like I came to the class with a separate business or anything. It's like I worked on your back end and it changed my whole life. The
Yeah.
tools in that manual is just like amazing,
Yeah.
because you can apply it to every single area of your life.
Well, and I want to acknowledge you too, because you are somebody who's really willing to choose. And I love that about you. I just adore that about you. And you are like you get an awareness of something and you're on it. Like you're changing it, you're choosing something different. Like you don't You don't fuck around, you know. You are a powerhouse. Um, and uh, and and a lot of people, like, you know, because the tools don't work, no tools work unless you're really choosing to have something different, you know. You have to be choosing, you have to have a level of choice behind everything that makes it, you know, so that it actually, so that the tools work but you work, you know, because it's really about you. And you are somebody who does, you're like, okay, I need to choose that, 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 or want to choose that, you know. It's going to create greater if I choose that. It's really cool.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I never looked at it that way, because you think that, everybody that gets tools in their hands just chooses,
No, definitely not. Not like that. Not like you do. And a lot of people do, you know, but a lot of people also just kind of give lip service to it, and they're left, you know, like there's something not, you know, things don't feel quite as effective, you know.
Yeah.
And it can be, you know, there's a lot of different degrees of that as well, but so yeah, coming up, we wanted to share some. Leilani mentioned I'm doing a 3-part Zoom series called "Having Your Back." The what is the tagline? It's something about the intimacy and elegance of creation. Is that what it is?
Business and creation.
Intimacy and elegance of business and creation. It's really about intimacy with you, in regards to like cultivating that, so that you can really, like, the choices that you make in your life, in your business, but in everything, you know, come from this beautifully grounded, present space of intimacy with you, having allowance for you, vulnerability, trust, honoring, and gratitude. And I actually took when I was very first starting with Access, I took a call. I can't remember what it was called, but it was something around intimacy and creation, with Katarina Wellington. She's a facilitator. She works a lot with Dean here. Brilliant lady. And it was forever ago. It was probably 2011 or 12 or something like that. But that really kind of shaped the direction of, you know, those conversations really shaped how I started to run with these tools, because it made so much sense to me that if I don't have that space with me, I cannot create. If I'm not willing to be vulnerable, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, you won't take the risks that you have to take to create a greater life. But like, there's risk taking inherent in that. There's a lot of courage required. If you don't have vulnerability, you just won't even go there. And that's just one piece. So yeah, so that's happening on September 18th, that 3-part Zoom series, Having Your Back, and or Having Your Own Back, or whatever. And there's also a Business Done Different coming up, September 15th, 14th. And
14.
yeah, so it starts on Thursday. And that's a 5-day, we're going to skip the Sunday. So it's over 6 days, but it's 5 days of Zooms. I'm traveling on one of those days. So, but it's 2.5 hours a day on Zoom for 5 days. And also just a real deep dive into a lot of these tools that, you know, just make it so easy to create, way more than we ever thought we could.
Mm-hmm.
I never tire of those conversations.
Never. And what's awesome is, like, because BDD of Business Done Different doesn't have prereqs, it's amazing always to have an updated manual as the class evolves and the conversations gets greater. They update the manual all the time, and then it's just like new spaces open up, new conversations, and that's why it just keeps on contributing and changing every single time.
Yeah. And there is a brand new manual, hot off the press, just published, I think, about a week ago. So
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So the one that you just did is not even relevant anymore.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
change that happened.
Yeah, we finished one on 3 days ago, and that manual, we won't be using it. We'll be using a different one. I love how fast things change around here. It's great. So,
Totally.
yeah, yeah. Cool. Well, Leilani, thank you so much. I just adore you. So grateful. It's been just such an immense pleasure and joy and privilege really to work with you over these past 3.5 years. And I'm not saying goodbye right now because I'm not actually going to ever say goodbye. So it's just what's next, you know? And thank you all for being here. And these are conversations that these are the conversations I want to be having, and in a world where something so different is required. And so thanks all of y'all for being part of it.
And thank you for you. Really.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a beautiful day. See y'all somewhere, sometime, hopefully soon.
Bye.